Another tool in the fight against coronavirus. The FDA clears the second vaccine, and shipments are expected in Colorado in a matter of days.
It represents hope. It represents getting back to normal life.
She sacrificed her personal life to care for elderly Coloradans.
We just can't live normal life.
Tonight, new details on the inner workings of how vaccines will be distributed to our most vulnerable Coloradans and why families say it can't come soon enough.
I am so excited for this to happen.
Republicans in one Colorado county say 3,000 fraudulent ballots were cast in the election. Ballots cast for dead Coloradans.
I said, I'm not diseased.
Problem is, these alleged dead voters are alive and well.
I am very much alive. Let me pinch myself. Yep, I'm still alive.
Coloradans will soon have access to another weapon in the fight against this pandemic. The FDA cleared Moderna's coronavirus vaccine today, a week after giving clearance to Pfizer's vaccine.
So the U.S. is now the first country to authorize 2 coronavirus vaccines. Truck will start moving the Moderna vaccine this weekend. We expect the first 5.9 million already manufactured shots to be handed out Monday, and Colorado is expected to get about 95,000 doses.
Although the FDA clearance means a larger supply of vaccine, the federal government estimates it could still be 6 months before most of us can get vaccinated. And these new shipments of the Moderna vaccine are still part of phase 1, meaning they will go to healthcare workers and residents and staff inside long-term care facilities.
Denver7's Gary Brode talked to some inside those nursing homes who say the mood is changing now that the vaccine is here.
It's more than a vaccine to those inside senior care facilities.
But it represents hope.
It's a lifesaver in my mind.
Delane Holdeman's 92-year-old mother lives in the Good Samaritan Society Senior Living Resort in Windsor. The last time she hugged her mom, not surrounded in plastic, was in March.
The hugging wall was great, but the plastic was there between us, and so it was good, and I could feel her warmth. But a real live hug with my mom is priceless, and I'm looking forward to that.
When the two can finally embrace is still up in the air, but Chief Medical Officer at Good Samaritan Society hopes that time can be soon.
Spring feels like, a conservative hope around maybe that's when it starts to look a little bit more like what we're used to.
It's been a lonely 9 months for long-term care residents living in isolation.
To have our residents to not be able to see their newborn grandchild or to be able to celebrate a 100th birthday with their friends and family, it's heartbreaking at times.
Julie Lee cares for these vulnerable Coloradans. She had to completely change her routine to keep residents safe.
We just can't live normal life. Even within our community here, our residents and staff, we have to dine separately. It is tough on our social aspect.
But Lee says the mood has changed among staff and residents, knowing the vaccine is within reach.
As silly as it may sound, we're looking forward to playing bingo. They want to know exactly when they can stop wearing their masks and when we can start eating in the dining room again.
The vaccines won't be stored inside these senior care facilities. Instead, pharmacists will be going into the facilities to administer the shots in the next few weeks.
We've been assured around them wearing proper PPE and having testing beforehand.
The pharmacists will come to the facilities multiple times to administer both rounds of shots. Holdeman says her mother will be getting the vaccine.
And then down the road, maybe we'll get to do that live hug.
Gary Brode, Denver7.
All right, here's to that live hug. And more than 12,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine have already been administered to healthcare workers on the front line since Monday. We alerted you last night to the 17,000 fewer doses of the Pfizer vaccine the state will receive next week. But the state says because we can now get a 6th dose out of the Pfizer vials, hopefully that'll help offset some of the shortfall. And of course, the Moderna vaccines will be heading to Colorado soon.
And here's some more good news. Our state's 3-day positivity rate is improving. It's currently at 7.3%. And keep in mind, we saw positivity rates above 13% last month. And although this 7% is a good sign, it is still not below the 5% threshold. Also keep this number in mind. 1 in 59 Coloradans is still currently contagious. And even though that's also an improvement, think about how many people you may encounter, say, in the grocery store. Governor Polis encourages Coloradans to continue mask wearing, social distancing, and to avoid gatherings.
Vice President Mike Pence, the First Lady, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell all got vaccinated today. President-elect Joe Biden and Dr. Jill Biden will be vaccinated Monday in Delaware. And today, the president-elect pointed to the bipartisan leaders getting vaccinated, saying this is more than politics here. This is, quote, about saving lives. The The president-elect is still eyeing 100 million shots administered in his first 100 days in office. Well, where's the help for millions of Americans? And tonight, we're closely keeping an eye on lawmakers in our nation's capital. Just hours before government funding is set to expire, Congress passed a resolution to extend the funding deadline to Sunday night. But there's still no agreement on a COVID relief package. But on the table where we stand now, a $900 billion package that would include extra funding for COVID testing, federal loans to help small businesses open, and stimulus checks to struggling Americans.
And around 280,000 Coloradans are about to lose their federal unemployment benefits. Funding for additional benefits through the CARES Act expires next Saturday. And the majority of these people getting pandemic unemployment assistance are gig workers, self-employed, or independent contractors.
It's really expensive to live out there. I don't have a big retirement sitting there waiting on me. You know, with this being Christmas and all and holidays, it's really terrible.
And even if Congress reaches a deal soon on a COVID relief package, we could see several weeks before an extension from Congress is worked into the state's unemployment system. And those unemployment benefits are being distributed through U.S. Bank's ReliaCard. And Contact Denver7 continues to get calls and emails from people having problems with this card. Some people who received one aren't even unemployed. Others who say they've been the victim of fraud. Angela Cantwell is the latest to have issues. She's a chef, now unemployed for the second time, and when she went to use her ReliaCard to pay a bill, it was declined. And when she called the number on the back of the card, she was told her card was frozen because of fraud. There's nearly $400 on that card that she can't use.
One of the people I spoke to, I was like, you know, you guys, this is kind of a serious situation. And they were like, well, yeah, we know. We'll get back to you.
Contact Denver7 reached out to ReliaCard. They agreed to look into the issue, and we will stay on top of this.
In little over a month, Joe Biden will be sworn in as president. And he won Jefferson County by nearly 70,000 votes.
Yet some Jeffco Republicans aren't buying it. They are raising new concerns of voter fraud, alleging people cast ballots for dead Coloradans.
Well, our Addie Guajardo did some digging. She found out they were very much alive, and those voters say the party needs to get their facts straight.
More than 6 weeks ago, Coloradans took to the polls to cast their vote. And just days ago, the Electoral College confirmed President-elect Joe Biden's victory. Yet the Jefferson County Republican Party is crying foul.
People who died and yet continued to vote.
Denise Mund,
we're hoping to restore voter integrity,
is chair of Jefferson County Republicans. She claims they found 3,000 potentially fraudulent votes and submitted a list of names to the district attorney's office for review.
128 records were showing up as deceased. We also had a number that were voting from prison facilities. And we also had about 2,500 that had filed a national change of address, and yet they voted here in Colorado.
Our team has been combing through the names provided of allegedly dead or fraudulent voters. We're going to try calling George now. He's on the list for a deceased voter. I just want to double check. You voted in this year's election.
Well, let me pinch myself, but yeah, I'm still alive.
George Vilpando even submitted his driver's license for our review. Next on the list, Barbara Pietrofesso.
I was terribly surprised again, because I'm alive and well. I haven't even been hospitalized.
We verified her address and date of birth. The longtime Republican changed her party affiliation this election.
I voted for Biden.
And then we paid a visit to Marilyn Van Wagenen.
I said, I'm not deceased.
We checked her driver's license. She's lived in her home 50 years.
Denise, I just wanted to let you know we have been going through those records, and we did make some phone calls, and we actually contacted at least a couple of people that say they're very much well alive and they voted appropriately.
Okay, great.
When we asked Denise if they attempted to make contact with the people on their list,
no, we've not done that.
Voters we spoke with, Republican and Democrat, say it's time to move on.
I think it's time that they drop this.
I do still trust the voting system.
The Republican County Party is also questioning the voting software and looking into an audit that could cost up to $10,000. Addie Guajardo, Denver7.
Listen up, we have a traffic alert tonight. A nearly 4-mile stretch of I-70 through Denver is closed. It will remain closed until 5 o'clock Monday morning. I-70 between Brighton Boulevard and I-270 is closed because of that Central 70 project. Crews will be demolishing the old Colorado Boulevard Bridge. So you can take I-25 to get to I-76 and back to 270 to get around that closure.
Most of us have seen no sales this year.
A tourist ghost town, and local artists are feeling the impact. But when a man stumbled into this gallery, a surprise gesture from a stranger that made all the difference.
He did a terrific, kind, memorable thing, and we will remember him forever.
It was a very cold day with snowfall this afternoon, but now we're clearing things out. It'll be a cold night. I'll let you know what the weekend forecast looks like and if we'll see any more snow.
A Broncos staffer who has direct contact with players tests positive. Is tomorrow's kickoff in jeopardy? Our sports team is tracking the impact of COVID inside Broncos headquarters.